The Peach Who Loved 1,000 Seeds. In a faraway orchard, where colors breathe and wines carry whispers of forgotten dreams, there lived a fruit named Peach. She was soft, tender, and full of warmth. But deep inside, she felt something missing. Like her sweetness was meant to heal someone else's scars. They called her the fruit of summer. Yet she longed for a winter heart. Something colder, harder. Something that wouldn't break. The orchard shimmers in sunset, fruits hang like stars, glowing with their own light. Every fruit in the orchard was proud of what they were. The apples showed their shine, the oranges their brightness, and the grapes, their laughter that filled the air like music. But Peach? She often sat alone near the edge of the garden, where shadows kissed the soil and the air turned strange. They said, "No fruit goes there," because that's where the pomegranate prince lived. They whispered about him like a myth, a fruit with a heart so heavy it carried 1,000 crimson seeds of sorrow. His name was Anar. Peach had heard tales that every seed inside him held a memory, and every memory a loss. Still, one evening, when the sky was painted in bruised pinks and reds, she followed the whispers and found herself before the forbidden grove. Soft leaves flutter as she steps forward, the air turning colder. A deep voice breaks the silence. "Not every sweetness belongs here, Peach." She freezes. It was him, his voice like stone cracked by thunder. "I didn't mean to trespass. I just wanted to see what sadness looks like." Sadness isn't something to see. It's something you taste when the world forgets you. She saw him then, his skin rough, thick, and scarred. A fruit that didn't shine in light but bled beauty in the dark. And his eyes, deep like the red of his seeds, heavy with 1,000 stories untold. Peach wanted to run, but couldn't, because something in his silence felt familiar. The loneliness of someone who once dared to love and lost it all. Peach began visiting the edge of the orchard again. Sometimes she'd just sit in silence, waiting for him to speak. Other times she'd tell stories about the sun, the rain, the laughter of the other fruits. And though Anar never smiled, she noticed the light around him changing, the shadows growing softer, his seeds glowing faintly when she laughed. But one evening, something strange happened. The winds that usually howled near his grove had gone silent. And when Peach arrived, Anar wasn't there. Only a single crimson seed lay where he usually stood. She picked it up, feeling its warmth pulse like a heartbeat. Her fingers trembled, and then she heard it, a whisper, faint, but real. "If you open me, you'll see the truth, but only if you're ready to bleed." Peach's eyes widened. She looked toward the forest beyond the grove, dark, endless, and full of voices calling her name. She took a step forward, toward the secret that every fruit in the orchard feared, the heart of the 1,000 seeds. Some fruits are born to ripen, but some are born to remember. The night the crimson seed pulsed in Peach's hand, the orchard fell silent. No laughter of grapes, no whispers of leaves, and only a heartbeat, slow, deep, and ancient. Peach looked at the seed glowing faintly between her palms. It wasn't just light, it was memory, and it was calling her name. She followed that heartbeat through the forest, beyond the roots that tangled like veins, past the trees that bent as if bowing before an unseen power. The air grew heavy, thick with red mist, and then she saw it, a gate made of vine and thorn. Each thorn carried a drop of what looked like blood, and in the center of the gate was a hollow carved perfectly for the seed she held. Peach hesitated. She could still turn back, but something in her heart whispered, "Love never learns by standing still." She pressed the seed into the hollow. Beyond the gate was no orchard. It was a world of echoes, a place built from memory, grief, and time itself. The sky bled shades of ruby and dusk, and there, floating in the distance, she saw 1,000 glowing orbs, each one pulsing with life. The seeds. Each orb was a seed, a story trapped in red glass, and at the center of them all stood Einar, his form flickering between the light and shadow. "I told you not to open the gate. Then why leave the key in my hands?" "Because part of me wanted you to." He turned, and she gasped. His body was cracking, his skin splitting like stone under pressure. And from every fracture, tiny lights, the seeds, were escaping, floating into the crimson air. "What's happening to you?" "I'm unraveling. Every time someone remembers me, I fade a little more." She stepped closer, but as her hand reached for him, the air shimmered, and the world around her shifted. Suddenly, she stood in a different orchard. Younger, brighter, alive with laughter. Fruits danced under the sun, and in the middle of them, a young Einar, radiant, kind, and smiling. He was teaching the smaller fruits to plant seeds of their own. He spoke of growth, hope, and renewal. It was beautiful, until the sky turned black. A storm unlike any other swept through the orchard. The wind screamed, tearing fruits from their branches. Lightning ripped across the sky. The great harvest war had begun. Flames consumed the trees. The soil cried red, and Einar, young and helpless, watched every fruit he loved fall to the ground. That day he tried to save them. But when the storm ended, only seeds remained, thousands of them, each carrying a dying whisper. He gathered them one by one and pressed them into his heart to never forget. So these seeds, they're not power. No, they're graves. Her heart shattered. She understood now. Every time the orchard bloomed again, it was built upon his pain, and yet he stayed silent, bearing it so no fruit would ever feel loss again. But the vision flickered. The world began to break apart. "You shouldn't be here. The memories, they're not stable." "I can handle it." "No, you can't handle what's coming." The sky cracked, and through the fracture came a shadow, a figure made of smoke and rot. It was the curse that had started the harvest war, the ancient hunger that fed on memory itself, and now it had found them. "So this is the one who dares to remember?" The ground split beneath Peach's feet. The seeds began to scream, faint voices crying out in pain. "Stop it! They're alive!" "They were once." It stretched toward her, vines sharp as blades. But before it could touch her, Einar stepped in front. "You'll have to go through me first." The vines pierced him. Crimson light burst from his chest, thousands of seeds flying into the air, spinning like stars torn from the sky. Each one showed a glimpse, a lost friend, a dying orchard, a broken promise. And Peach saw everything. Tears burned her eyes as she screamed his name. "Peach! Einar!" The shadow roared. Einar's light began to fade. He turned his gaze toward Peach, soft, sad, and full of love. "Peach, the seeds were never my burden. They were my way to find you." She reached out, but her hands passed through his fading form. "No! Don't you dare leave!" "Then don't forget me." And with that, his final seed, the brightest one, floated into her hands. The shadow retreated, the world trembling around her. Peach fell to her knees, clutching that last seed to her chest. The wind whispered, like Einar's voice carried through the orchard. "Every seed holds a story, but only one holds the truth." The light around her began to collapse, the 1,000 seeds spinning into a blinding storm. Peach screamed as the crimson world shattered, and then silence. Peach wakes up at the edge of the orchard, the dawn breaking in her palm. The final seed, glowing faintly. She looks toward the horizon. The forbidden grove is gone, but something still calls her name from deep within the soil. The last seed hums softly, alive, waiting. Inside it, the truth of the 1,000 hearts still beats. Peach stands, wiping her tears, her voice steady but trembling. If I have to break the world to bring you back, Anar, I will. And so began the dawn of the final bloom, where love would face the shadow itself. The morning after the crimson storm, the orchard was silent, not dead, just waiting. Peach walked among the broken vines, her dress torn, her hands trembling, the last seed clutched close to her heart. Everywhere she stepped, the ground whispered Anar's name, but he was gone. All that remained was the echo of a promise. She sat beside the old fountain, cracked and dry, the same place where Anar once told her stories of the stars. She remembered his words. Every seed holds a story, but only one holds the truth. Her gaze fell to the glowing seed. It pulsed faintly, almost breathing, "If you can hear me, Anar, tell me what to do." The wind stirred, and petals lifted from the ground, swirling around her. The orchard began to hum again, faintly like a heartbeat returning after a long silence, and from beneath the soil, something ancient awakened. The vines moved, the trees straightened, the air shimmered, and then she saw it. A figure forming from light and seed fragments, half spirit, half memory. Anar, reborn, but incomplete. Anar, you came back. I'm not whole, Peach. I'm only what the seed remembers. She ran forward, trying to touch him, but her hand passed through his chest like mist. Then tell me how to bring you back. You can't bring me back without giving something in return. What do you mean? The orchard needs a heart for every bloom. A life must root itself in its soil. When I sealed the 1,000 seeds inside me, I traded my life for theirs. Now the balance is broken again, and only one heart can fix it. Peach's breath caught in her throat. The meaning sank deep, painfully deep. To restore the orchard, to bring Anar back fully, she would have to take his place. So that's why you didn't want me to follow you. I wanted you to live to tell the story, not become it. Then let me finish what you started. She held out the seed. It shone brighter, a pulse of red and gold, the light reflecting her tears. Peach, if you do this, you'll never return. I know, but every story needs an ending, and maybe this is ours. The wind roared. Petals spiraled like fire around them. The orchard began to bloom again, the trees trembling with life, their roots glowing crimson beneath the earth. Peach pressed the seed to her chest. The light entered her, and for a moment, time stopped. Her memories flooded the orchard, every laugh, every dream, every silent wish she ever made. She saw the first time she met Anar, his shy smile, his crimson glow under the moon. She heard his laughter echoing in the trees. And then she felt herself dissolve into that same light. Her body became petals, her voice became wind, her soul became the heart of the orchard itself. Peach, no! He tried to reach her, but the vines wrapped around him, gently pulling him back into life. The more she faded, the more real he became. Color returned to his face, warmth to his eyes, and when he gasped for air, the orchard finally bloomed in full. The once dead land erupted with color, crimson trees, golden blossoms, rivers of light. Every fruit awoke, whispering Peach's name. Her sacrifice had become their spring. Anar stood in the middle, alive but broken inside. He could feel her everywhere, in the petals, in the air, in the rhythm of the leaves. You kept your promise, even when I couldn't. Days passed. Seasons changed. But Anar never left the orchard. He planted a single peach tree beside the fountain, its blossoms unlike any other, soft as dreams and glowing faintly red at their core. Every night, he sat beneath it, listening to the whisper of the wind. Sometimes, when the moonlight hit the petals just right, he could almost hear her laugh again, gentle, teasing, alive. "I once told you every seed holds a story. Yours became the one that saved them all." He smiled, not out of joy, but with the quiet peace of someone who had finally understood love. The orchard thrived for 1,000 years after that night, and every spring, when the first peach blossom opened, the fruits would gather to hear a legend, the legend of the peach who loved 1,000 seeds. They say that if you stand beneath her tree at dawn and whisper your heart's truest wish, a petal will fall into your hands, warm, glowing, alive, and in that moment, you'll feel her heartbeat. Not gone, just changed, forever part of the orchard. Love doesn't end. It roots itself and grows again.